At this time, I'll turn it over to Dr. Ross for the superintendent's report.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just wanted to thank Crossroads and Chapin Middle School for really taking on what we talk about and when we refer to our theme of Operation Transformation. This is just a great example, Dr. Doty, Dr. Huckabee, of leading transformation in School District 5. We started out with a great rally, or had our back-to-school rally on the 1st, and was so excited about not only the energy in the room, but the speaker. We had two very impactful speakers, Chase and Cash Harris, that talked about the power of believing. And when you believe in a child, what can happen. And someone came up to me and said, "This is the best speech I've heard in recent years." I said, I spoke last year. And they said, "This is the best speech I've heard in recent years." So,
It's interesting that Dr. Ross said that, because when he said we had two impactful speakers, I also spoke, and yet he did not acknowledge me.
I think when Cash came out on the stage, it was all about his show. But I want to thank our Teachers of the Year, our Support Employee of the Year. You notice all of our speeches are very different this year, and it just really boded into that notion of Operation Transformation. A lot of energy. Thanks to the communications team for really putting this together. And so I'm excited about that. We are moving forward for our children and their future, and we're able to, in the rain, it's been very rainy, but it doesn't stop us from moving forward with the groundbreaking. You can see the portables that are in the background of both of these pictures as we move to get our students in the buildings. It's safer, more conducive for a better educational environment at Chapin Elementary School and Lake Murray Elementary School. So we thank Operations for putting this together. We have really excited about moving forward for these groundbreaking opportunities. And we do this as a system asking three critical questions. Why do we do this work? How do we accomplish that why, and then what are our outcomes? Our why is that we love and grow our students. Our how is through our mission being focused on academic, social, emotional growth and development. And what are we doing? It's the strategic plan. I'm not going to take Audrey Black and Dr. Harris's thunder tonight, because they will go over our plan as we come to the end of our 5-year plan, our strategic plan, moving towards our next 5-year plan. But our goal this year is supporting our students, supporting our teachers and staff, and supporting the district. It's really about the whole child. We want to make sure that every child comes ready to learn. And to do that, we have to answer three critical questions for each child. Am I safe? Do I feel that I belong here? And does this information have relevance to me? You can hear all of the discussions that the teachers and the principals made in their planning communities. It's really child-centered and family-focused. And so we believe that children learn best when they're loved, when they're safe, and they're connected. This happens in classrooms and science labs, on stage, in art galleries, on fields and courts, before, during, and after school. It is truly a whole child-centered approach. But we cannot do this without our teachers and staff. We asked for a year, how do we support our teachers and our staff? And they said, we need to feel valued and we need to grow. And we do this through three major things. Just acknowledge what we're going through as teachers. Give us time to reflect on our practice, and then give us the supports that we need for teacher and learning. This is from our Teachers of the Year, from our faculty advisory. So we're leaning into that. We're acknowledging the realities on the ground. We talk about the tough data that we have in our district, because this helps them get resources in place to do that. When we looked at the third graders here's the reality. A lot of our students are doing well. As you can see, the number of third graders that we have above the meets and the number of students we have exceeds. Our teachers are doing a tremendous job of growing those students. And then we are looking for the supports that we can do for the number of students that are there in below the 21st percentile. That takes a lot more when you're 2 and 2.5 reading levels behind to make those gains. But our teachers are locked in to do that. And so they just ask that we recognize, when you have a classroom with 5 different levels of achievement, and how do I meet that challenge? And I'm very thankful that our district has come equipped with answers, and that answers is through MTSS, or multi-tiered support systems. We believe that the best thing that we can do for all children is to have high quality instruction delivered to our students each and every day. Parents, if you want to be involved in that, I would ask you can look at our Office of Academics. They put every class that we teach, I believe almost every class that we teach, it's online. You can see the I can statements, the success criteria, the proficiency expectations for every class. So you can be a part of what those tier 1 interventions. But then we also, for those who need additional support, we have tier 2. And now, thanks to the board, we're adding tier 3 items, supports for our students. So the last piece is supporting the district. This year, our calendar is very, very busy. We are redistricting. We are going through restructure, the rezoning, and the referendum. There's a lot of new things that we're adding within the basis of this year. And so supporting the district is important. So as we go through these plans, we want to make sure that it's the welfare of the children that we always have first and foremost as we move through the uncertainty that a lot of these changes bring. But I'm fortunate to have amazing staff that helps us move through all of this. And so we've had academic reports, we had operational reports, we have financial reports. Tonight we're going to bring 2 more departments for the reports, the Human Resources and the Office of Student Services and Planning. So we'll, at this time, to the lectern come Dr. Wicker to present tonight's Human Resources report. Dr. Wicker.
Chair, members of the board, Dr. Ross, it's my pleasure this evening to invite to the lectern Mrs. Melanie Cohen, who is our coordinator of professional staff, who will provide for you our district recruitment update. Mrs. Cohen.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Ross, for this opportunity to talk to you about where we are with recruitment and retention of our staff, certified staff. I'm excited to let you know that our current fill rate is 99%. That is not 100%, but we work every single day to get there to 100%. We do have several people in the pipeline who are working on certification requirements, and so I do expect that to increase, hopefully to 99.4%. I would love to say 100% in just a couple of months. Also, an important piece of data for us in the Office of Human Resources is our certified teacher retention rate. Our retention rate from last year to this year is 89%. Just for comparison, the South Carolina median retention rate is 85%. So we do remain above that state median rate, which is a good thing. One of our key achievements is what I know we've called our support to certified staff or support to certified program. What that really is helping any of our certified staff who come in and say, I'm really interested in being a teacher. My job is to help take them from where they are. Maybe they have a 2-year degree. They need to finish that bachelor's degree. Maybe they have a master's in education but have never gotten certified. I help them where they are and help them go through that certification process. This year alone, it says 15 up there, but just today we've hired 1 more. So that number, we've hired 16 teachers from last school year who are working as support staff who are in a certified position this year. So that puts from 2019 to present over the past 6 years, we're at 70 folks. So that's enough to more than fill an elementary school. So that's exciting. Some areas of focus for us as we continue the recruitment and retention of certified teachers is we want to continue to build those university and college relationships that we have interns in our building. We have classes from USC for our education majors that are hosted in our buildings. So we have about 120 interns scheduled for fall. We also have about 150 more students from the university who are maybe not doing their internship here, but they're having classes here, and some of their experiences are here, and that's amazing. We can get them into our pipeline, let them see the great things that are happening here. We also will continue to use the data from an SC Teacher Exit Survey to increase retention. We want to know, why are people leaving, where are they going, and how can we just keep some of those people in our staff. And then finally, we, of course, will always use data continue to guide staffing decisions based on the needs of our students and of our schools. Some acknowledgments. We can't get to 99% without everybody's help. Our district administrators have been key in helping to engage with our university students. They help attend events. They engage with the interns, so the interns in the school know who those principals are, and that builds early relationships, makes them want to come to District 5. We engage early with applicants. I can call a principal and say, hey, this person's just kind of interested in coming to District 5. Some of them, they'll call them, text them that day. Hey, come on, come to a visit. Come see what our school's all about. And that, folks, is the kind of customer service that people really, they want to come to District 5 when they receive that kind of engagement. And just actively connecting candidates with our teachers. Teachers want to hear from teachers. They don't want to hear from me. They don't necessarily want to hear from us. They want to hear from their fellow colleagues. And that's how they want to get the real deal. And that's where they hear it. So I also want to acknowledge our district teachers. Our teachers speak highly of the amount of instructional supports that we have in District 5, and that word gets around. I can't tell you the number of phone calls I get. They say, hey, I've heard about District 5. My friend so-and-so teaches here, and I want to be a part of that. Great, I got you. Let me bring you on in. I like to say teachers recruit teachers. They want to hear from other colleagues about how things are, and our teachers talk positively about our district. The niche.com rating of the best place to teach in South Carolina absolutely helps. That is huge. We have a lot of people moving from out of state into this area, and they do their research. They may say, my husband's coming to the Midlands. He's gotten a job. I have to follow him. Where am I going to go? Guys, they have a lot of choices. There are a lot of places and districts within driving distance. They call and say, I saw that your niche.com rating is the best place to teach in South Carolina, and I want to be a part of that. And that helps. So those ratings are certainly important. Also, I like to say that retention of teachers and staff starts the moment a person walks in our door. So we have to make sure and depend on all these departments in our district to make sure their onboarding experience is a good one. Of course, my colleagues in the Office of Human Resources really try to work hard to make sure that happens. Our friends down in payroll in the Office of Finance do an amazing job to make sure they get paid on time. Are they getting their supply check? The folks in the Office of Operations, because those new teachers want to get those computers and they want their email addresses. So they help us out with that. And of course, in the Office of Academics, the support, the wraparound support that they give, not only our new teachers, but veteran teachers, is amazing. So recruitment and retention is everybody's job in District 5, and it's going very well. I stand for questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? Thank you so much.
Melanie, before her education stint, was a recruiter for the Texas Longhorns in Alabama. She does an amazing job recruiting the teachers, knows everything about each one of the candidates. And not all candidates make it to D5, but she still keeps those relationships, and we have the best recruiter in the state. Come to the lectern at this time to represent the Student Services and Planning Department Division is our Chief of Student Services and Planning, Dr. Michael Harris.
Good evening to members of the board, Dr. Ross, members of our community. I too have someone I'd like to introduce or present, Ms. Audrey Black, who's our Director of Planning and Accountability, who's going to come forward tonight and give us some highlights and some updates regarding our current strategic plan, as well as some insight into the next phase of our next strategic plan. Ms. Black.
All right. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Ross, and members of our community that are here tonight. Thank you for the opportunity to provide a brief overview of our current strategic plan and share the process for developing our new plan, which will take effect in 2027-2028 school year. So we are operating in our 4th year of our current strategic plan. And as Dr. Ross often reminds us, our current strategic plan is made up of 4 performance goals, with each of those performance goals being supported by 6 strategies. These strategies are in turn supported by 165 action steps that serve as a practical guide to achieve our mission and vision. During our last update of our strategic plan, we revised the district's gifted and talented goal. So this goal was approved by the school board on April 7th of 2025 and subsequently approved in June by the South Carolina Department of Education. The South Carolina Department of Education also approved our waiver request. Since the school's goals and strategies are directly aligned with the district's plan, we will amend and submit the school plans to reflect that change. So with that revision, it takes us into planning for our 5th and final year within the current strategic planning cycle. I will meet with school leaders and strategy leads in September to kick off our final update. So during the school year, those groups will meet with their stakeholders to review the plans and monitor and evaluate the action steps to determine any changes. In February and March, the schools and district will finalize all revisions and then bring them to the board for discussion and approval. So while we are finishing up our planning for the current cycle, we will also begin developing the next 5-year strategic plan, which will take effect in the 27-28 school year. So as a reminder, South Carolina state law requires all school districts to develop a 5-year strategic plan, with schools creating their own 5-year renewal plans. Both are updated annually. These plans serve as blueprints, which guide administration in supporting our district's mission and vision. Here in District 5, our schools and the Cates Center align their renewal plans with the district's strategic plan to ensure consistency and focus. These same regulations require that every district and school include goals in 3 key areas, which are school climate, academic achievement, and teacher and administrator quality. Additional regulations require districts to set goals for gifted and talented education, integrating those plans into the broader strategic planning process. Our district strategic plan development will follow the South Carolina Continuous Improvement Model. Each phase of our planning process incorporates elements of this model. Because it's cyclical, the model not only guides us in creating a strong strategic plan, but it also ensures the plan remains relevant and responsive to the district's needs over time. The strategic plan is only one part of the strategic process. Together with the mission and vision, the strategic planning process helps clarify our purpose, defines where we want to be in the future, and provides a guide on how we are going to get there. This year, we've been using Antoinette Portis's book, Not a Box, during our leadership sessions. In the story, a young bunny looks at a cardboard box and sees endless possibilities. I love how the story captures the many imaginative possibilities hidden in something so simple. Sometimes strategic planning can look and feel like a box, with its guidelines, defined structures, and state mandates. However, I like to think that our work in strategic planning isn't about the box, but transforming it into a launchpad for creativity, innovation, and the future we want for our students. So what does that box or launchpad look like for our district? It is composed of 5 phases. The initial phase begins in January 2026 and ends with the submission of our plan in April of 2027. Phase 1 of our strategic planning process is all about initiation, and it starts with our community. We will begin by gathering community feedback through a stakeholder survey and regional input sessions organized by cluster. This allows us to hear directly from parents, staff, students, and community members about their needs and priorities. That feedback will then be synthesized into key themes and will be represented to our executive staff. In our first executive staff meeting, we will review the current strategic plan alongside this community input. That discussion will help us identify and clarify overarching performance goal areas. So that's the big picture priorities that will guide our work moving forward. In our next step, the executive staff will take action to finalize those goal areas and select committee co-leads for each one. We then begin recruitment calls for committee members. Each committee is intentionally designed to be diverse and representative. They include voices from every geographic region in our district, every level, elementary, intermediate, middle, and high school, and a range of stakeholder groups including parents, support staff, teachers, community members, and administrators. We've also made sure to include representatives who don't fit neatly into those categories, such as adult education and career and technology education. This ensures that as we move forward, our planning process reflects the perspectives and needs of our entire district community. Phase 2 of our strategic planning process is focused on two key parts: the needs assessment and goal setting. We start with Victoria Bernhardt's framework for looking at 4 types of data: demographics, perceptions, student learning, and school processes. By analyzing these 4 areas, we get a comprehensive view of where we are as a district and where we need to grow. When we bring these 4 types of data together, they create what Dr. Bernhardt calls a picture of a school. This picture is more than numbers and charts. It's a snapshot of our students' experiences, our community's perspectives, our learning outcomes, and how our schools operate. This well-rounded view is what grounds our strategic planning in reality and not assumptions. The needs assessment process is about transforming raw data into meaningful information. We compile data from all the 4 areas, look for patterns and trends, and identify both strengths to build on and challenges that we need to address. This step ensures that our goals are informed by facts and just not opinions. Once we have a clear understanding of our needs, we shift into goal development. This is where the plan starts to take shape. We use the needs assessments as our guide to make sure our goals are targeted, relevant, and focused on areas that will make the greatest impact for our students and schools. To do this, the district creates strategic planning committees for each performance goal area. Each committee includes parents, students, teachers, staff, administrators, and community members to ensure a wide range of perspectives. Committees meet multiple times to review drafted goals, analyze needs using a shared data protocol, and identify key focus areas. They provide feedback to their co-leads, who then develop draft goal recommendations to bring back for final committee input. Once committees finalize their recommendations, these go to the executive staff for review and approval. The drafted goals are then communicated to the board during the superintendent's report. Finally, the goals are finalized and shared with our schools so that their strategic planning can begin. So phase 3 of our strategic planning process is focused on strategy development. At this stage, the district forms content area-specific strategy teams made up of internal experts, such as academic directors, principal representatives, coordinators, and program leads. These teams carefully examine the previously established goals alongside the data collected. They engage in deep discussions about the needs of our students, schools, and the district as a whole. From this collaborative work, the teams develop strategies that are directly informed by those needs, strategies designed to help us effectively achieve our goals. Once these strategies are drafted, they undergo a thorough review and approval process by the executive staff. We then communicate the drafted strategies to the board through a formal brief, followed by presentations during the superintendent's report and upcoming board meetings. Phase 4 is where the meat and potatoes of the strategic plan take shape, and that's the action plan development. The previously established strategy teams will develop detailed action plans for each strategy. Each action plan includes clear action steps, timelines, persons responsible, estimated cost, funding sources, and indicators to track implementation. It's important to note that some parts of these action plans will span up to 5 years, while others may be shorter, lasting 1 or 2 years, depending on the nature of the work. Once developed, these action plans are presented to the executive staff for review. We also provide a board brief to communicate the action plans, ensuring transparency and keeping our board and community informed as we move towards implementation. Phase 5 marks the final step in our strategic planning process, the review and approval phase. District administration conducts a thorough review of all action steps outlined in the plan to ensure completeness and readiness. Following this, the board engages in review and discussion of the plan during a board meeting's discussion agenda. This provides an additional opportunity for questions and input. Next, the plan moves to the board's action agenda where the formal approval is sought. And once the board approves, the finalized district and school plans are submitted to the South Carolina Department of Education. Before we close, I want to highlight how we'll communicate progress on this work. Throughout the strategic planning process, district administration will provide periodic updates during board meetings. These updates will ensure that both the public and our board members remain informed about where we are in the process and what's coming next. When done well, strategic planning gives our district clear focus and aligns our resources, increasing both effectiveness and efficiency. It strengthens our teams and it enhances satisfaction and meaning for staff by helping them see the value and impact of their contributions. Most importantly, it allows us to tackle major complex challenges, all with the goal of improving student learning. As we move forward, the strategic plan will serve as our roadmap for the next 5 years. It's a dynamic living document, one that will be reviewed, monitored, and evaluated regularly, and fully updated annually. Ultimately, this plan is about focus, alignment, and accountability, making sure every step we take moves us closer to the future we envision for our students. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? Ms. Huddle?
How does state goals or requirements, and I'm thinking specifically of, I think the state wants us to get to 70%, 75, okay, on math and reading by 2030? Does that, things like that, and that just may be an example, do those things play into this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it's not just what we think we need, it's also what the state says we need.
It is a mixture of both because, I mean, we are the ones that know our community best and we know how to make those goals happen. So sometimes even though it doesn't say we will reach 75% by a certain date, it doesn't mean that all the goals that we have in place aren't there driving us towards that goal. Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of goes into what I was asking too, in that I know that most of the time the numerical portions of these are kind of incremental.
Yes, ma'am.
But what the state's asking for is a big jump, right? So are we, and maybe I'm asking you a question about the future, but I'm just saying, are we going to aim for what the state wants and figure out how to get there? Or are we going to put what we I hate to say what we really think we'll get, but they're asking for a lot. So I guess is how much do we reach for the future versus what we think is really achievable?
Okay. So as you saw in those different steps, there's a lot of input by a lot of stakeholders in the district. And so those will kind of be determinations that we collectively make is, do we feel this is realistic for our district? Is the data showing that we need to make further stretch goals? Or do we need to take those increments and look at them and break it down maybe a little bit further? So I would say that right now, we just say we have so many people that are going to be putting in input. I don't think we could say like, yes, we're going to have like a 75% goal or a 70% goal because we just don't have that community and the input yet.
Well, and a follow-up question to that is, I'm curious how the state looks at it. Like, do they appreciate if you have a stretch goal but don't achieve it? Do they penalize you for that? Or do they like it better if you have a lower goal but you achieve it?
I think, too, it's kind of looking at the trend data that goes in.
Yes.
One of the things I would compare this to is the cognitive process. We have to kind of validate where did you get that number from. So if we say 75 and your baseline data says you're 50 percentile from that, so, well, why did you pick 75? Well, the state said that. Well, but why did you pick that for your, because we have to show that incremental progress. And I think like with graduation rates, we all remember No Child Left Behind. It was supposed to be 100%. And you had to make adequately yearly progress towards 100%. Well, no one made that. So I think for our committees, they're tasked with looking at what is our trend and then what's that next piece. I always think it is 100%. I think we can't, through our trend data, put the time that we'll get there. So I like saying, yeah, the goal is 100%, but based on our trend data, it may take us 2032 to get there. So we have to look at that, and those small committees will do that. And I think our biggest thing is, are those 165 steps, they're adequately thought out and budgeted and resourced so that we can actually get there.
Anybody else? All right, thank you so much.
Great job, and we thank you. We look forward to this. We have Audrey Black and our team are perfect to take us through this process, and I look forward to those committees meeting. The ultimate goal is to get our students from that notion of, I can't do this. And I think we've seen people say, I'm not good at math, or I can't do reading on that level. I can't do science to that level, to I can. And that transformation starts with the heart. That's why this is Operation Transformation, and that is our D5 story. That concludes the superintendent's report, and I stand for any questions.
Do we have any questions for Dr. Ross?